constantly worried about time, and not in the same sense of like, technically has the least amount of time with their parents. What I was thinking about lately is time. Yesterday was the eclipse. For some reason, I was just so restless yesterday. I don't know if it was just like the energy, but not like the bad type of restless where, you know, like something is going on in your life that's negatively influencing you, but like the type of restless because something exciting is happening, or something that I really appreciated about yesterday is how many people collectively got together and just paused. Whether it was missing work, missing school, to admire something going on. I actually ended up being able to get the glasses and being able to see it even though I'm not in the path of seeing it completely. People being able to just stop reminds us to be present. And the reason why I wanted to bring this up is because I had a theory that I've been kind of thinking about all week. Depending on your family, if you're like the youngest, oldest, middle child, and the amount of siblings you have, your parents and their placements within their family, like I feel like that all influences our personal development. Because I know people were talking about this in terms of like dating. If you're the oldest daughter dating like an older son, the eldest son just doesn't work, you bump heads a lot. And I found that really interesting. So then I was thinking about the ways, if there's a pattern between like youngest, oldest, middle child. So I literally took the time and asked my friends, but I'm gonna focus on the point of being the youngest child because I am the youngest in terms of age. I am the youngest within age. So something that I feel like is very misrepresented in terms of like the youngest children is that I feel like youngest children, like the youngest sibling, is constantly worried about time. And not in the same sense of like older children, because I feel like older children try to be like as responsible as possible to take care of their siblings, take care of their parents, and they kind of like have this pressure. But youngest also try to be as successful as possible because they want their parents there for their milestones. And when you really think about this, that a lot of times people don't acknowledge that the youngest child of the family technically has the least amount of time with their parents, so they feel the need to rush things. They feel like they're constantly running out of time to get into the right relationship, to get married, and like have their parents there for like these big milestone moments. I don't know if that's just a me thing. Maybe it is a me thing, because I only have one parent, that consciously I always had a hyper awareness of more morbid things like death. When you have one parent, that's another thing. You're like, okay, so I only have one parent. I already am missing like half of my dynamic. And you're kind of just like, I want them there. If you have a good relationship, obviously, but you're like, I want them there. I want them to be there for like my graduation, if I have kids or whatever, for my first business taking off, like things like that. And when it doesn't happen fast enough, it's frustrating because you feel like you're running out of time. A lot of people would think of that as like a person seeking like instant gratification. My generation, Gen Z, wants instant gratification. And I don't always think that's the case, but especially coming from the perspective of being the youngest, the feeling of time, it just feels like it's slipping. You don't know how long anyone is gonna be in your life. Whether it's a parent, you think about meeting people and then being disappointed when they're not right, and then you have to start all over again, and the feeling of just having to start all over again. And I feel like maybe it's not just the youngest with this. I know my middle child friend mentioned, because I'm the type of friend who texts the most random things. I'm like, hey, just wondering what was your experience being the middle child, and do you think it's accurately represented in media? So then something she said was interesting to me. Like, she's like, oh, I don't think that middle children are actually ignored. Like, that wasn't her experience, but she does try to do things and listen to her parents and be as good as possible. And then I have another friend who's also a milk child and was kind of like that. Definitely like the very much always listen to your parents type, the always try to do the right thing, always try to do what you're told. It's just interesting that between both of them, I actually saw that connection, and I'm like, maybe that is more likely as a male child experience, but I wouldn't know because I'm the youngest. And what she did mention is she's worried about not spending enough time with her parents. My thing is more like, it's not about spending enough time, because I already spend so much time with my parent, but it's more like, how much things will she be there for? Thinking about, God forbid, when she's gone, who will I have? And I think sometimes my mind always goes back to that thought, as morbid as that sounds. Yesterday was just a reminder to just appreciate time. I feel like a lot of times I fear it. I have anxiety around it. I don't want to, but sometimes we don't even recognize, like, sometimes the moments we're in is something we actually wanted. Oh, and back to my dream. Well, not my dream, but like something I thought of like in that time when I was awake again and I could not go back to sleep. I had a memory. It just felt like, did I really say that, or did that really happen? And I know it did happen. I know it's not like a dream or like something I thought that happened, but like an actual memory coming back. I remember being in a classroom with my friend, worried about life after graduation, or saying like what we wanted to do. My friend at that point is technically a year older. She took a gap year and then went to college. She didn't want to jump into work right away after college, and I agreed with her because there's still so much I didn't get to do or get to understand. Also, in the back of my mind, I was thinking about how, no, I need to jump into work. I need to do things as fast as possible, because I need to be as helpful, as useful as possible, and have life set up so I can do more things. That was a while before graduation. It was our 6th semester, and we were talking about this, where we were talking about what we want to do after we graduate, because we were thinking about graduation a lot, even though we still had 2 more semesters to go. Talking about like wanting a break before going into work. How much we were thinking about time. And I do think sometimes you can't help it, because you want to know your future. You want to know what you're getting into. You want to have a plan. You want to keep moving forward. And sometimes you feel like if you stand still, you just won't, that you'll plateau, you'll stay stuck there. So you sometimes think like you'll plateau, you'll stay stuck there, or things won't happen fast enough, or you'll lose out on opportunities. And then sometimes I think about how I feel guilty in this moment. I realized like this is exactly what I wanted at some point. Internally I wanted this, verbally I wanted this, mentally I wanted this, but also that part of my brain felt like I couldn't have time. It'd be horrible of me to take time. I just want to remind people to appreciate the time we have. Because you know what's something so interesting is that we always, and I mean we always do this, when we're in happier times and we know that the time makes us feel happy and fulfilled and nourished, that we get scared. Like, we get scared because sometimes we don't feel like we deserve it. Like, we don't deserve the happiness we feel. We feel guilty over it. We feel like other people are suffering, so we compare our situations, and then we feel guilty over what we're doing. And then we also sometimes feel like we're not doing enough when you're able to enjoy the moment, because how can life be so like calm and peaceful and just pleasant? But on the other end, when we are in times of misery, we don't see a way out. We think we're stuck in misery. We think we deserve it. And it's just so interesting to me that we have those conflicting types of, I guess, beliefs and imagery with time. Not everyone, obviously. So this is your reminder. Take some time today. Be present if you can. Be in nature. Because that's what I'm going to do today. But I just wanted to take some time to record these thoughts, even though it's honestly just words and random things that have no actual plot and storyline. But sometimes I just feel like that's when the best ideas come out, and honestly, I want to remember these times. I want to remember the type of thoughts I had. I want to remember and kind of like look back at these videos and be like, oh, I did think that. If I still believe that, if I still show up in life that way. And I feel like that's going to be something fun. Okay. You want to say hi, cows? Was that a no? Or a hi? Okay. Whatever you say. I will see you later.